12. The News at Noon starts right now.
Today on the News at Noon, an update to a high-profile murder case and a big announcement from the airport. But first, we're thinking cozy thoughts as we count down to fall, or at least the autumnal equinox, which is usually the best we can do in south central Texas this time of year. But later this week, we actually will see some cooler temperatures, and our meteorologist Sarah Spivey is tracking those changes. Good news, Sarah.
Yeah, we are officially less than an hour and a half away from the autumnal equinox. And while it's not going to feel like autumn today, in fact, we're going to be pushing the mid-90s around San Antonio. We are going to be seeing a cool front in the next couple of days. In fact, that front will arrive on Wednesday, mainly in the afternoon and evening, and it will bring with it the potential for some storms. Storms are going to be possible with the potential for 1 to 2 inches of rain for some. Not everybody's going to see that much rain, but some folks will. And what is it going to do to our weather, though? The changes we'll see: less humidity and cool mornings as a result of that front. So not necessarily cool, crisp in the afternoon, but cooler mornings to look forward to. Right now, though, it is anything but cool. Temperatures are climbing as we're seeing puffy cumulus clouds develop, a little bit of rain out near the Houston area. It's already 86 degrees in San Antonio, 86 in Kerrville, 84 in Rock Springs. For the rest of the day, we're going to be looking at a high of 95, but that 95 is going to feel like 101. So yeah, come on, cool front, come on down. Mornings will be in the 60s by the end of the week. I'll have details on that and our rain chances coming up. Courtney.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, a commander with the San Antonio Park Police Department has been placed on administrative leave after he was accused last month of crashing into a vehicle on the northeast side and then fleeing the scene. City records show Lieutenant Timothy Packard is district commander for the Park Police and a 39-year veteran of the department. He's accused of swerving into a vehicle on August 18th in the 4500 block of Walsham Road and then leaving the scene without exchanging information with the other driver. A San Antonio Police Department incident report shows Packard was driving a city vehicle at the time of the crash. The case will be filed at large as failure to stop and give information with damage over $200. That's a Class B misdemeanor. City officials confirm Packard has been placed on administrative duty, but have not said whether the wreck occurred while he was on duty. An SAPD spokesman told the KSAT via email that they are aware of the incident and that it is being investigated. Well, new at noon, the trial date for murder suspect Brad Simpson was tentatively set during a court hearing today. The trial is tentatively scheduled to start on February 13th, 2026. Judge Joel Perez had initially ordered prosecutors to hand over all case evidence gathered by Texas Rangers to the defense by August 9th. But that deadline was extended since the July 4th flooding impacted the investigation. Simpson is charged in connection with the death of his wife, Suzanne Simpson, who was last seen on October 6, 2024 at a party at the Argyle Club. Simpson reported Suzanne missing the following evening. Despite extensive searches, her remains have not been found. San Antonio police are investigating a violent robbery overnight at a Westside gas station on Highway 90. Officers say a man walked into the Roadster Shell with a knife, pointed to the register, and when that clerk refused to open it, the suspect jumped over the counter and stabbed him multiple times in the back. Police say the man then grabbed random items and took off running. The clerk was rushed to University Hospital, and we are working to figure out the severity of his injuries. Well, U.S. Representative Tony Gonzalez is set to be in San Antonio today for a grand opening of a new research facility at the Southwest Research Institute. But now media is no longer invited to attend. This after we were invited to the event to interview Gonzalez and other officials as well. That was back on Wednesday, though. And that's the same day that KSAT Investigates first reported on the death of Gonzalez's regional director, Regina Santos Aviles. The Texas Rangers say they're helping Uvalde police with the investigation into the death after the staffer from Congressman Tony Gonzalez's office. And family members say Regina Santos Aviles died September 14th after she caught fire. Available right now on KSAT.com. KSAT Investigates Daniela Ibarra breaks down what we know so far and has the Institute's response on why media was uninvited from today's event. Well, the deadline to get registered to vote is 2 weeks away. So if you haven't done it, here's your reminder, and you might want to do it soon since a delay is causing a bit of a headache for registration officials. You may have seen the report showing that 45,000 people are still waiting for their applications to be processed, raising the question, will tens of thousands of potential local voters be able to cast a ballot come November? Bexar County has not been able to enter in new voter registration since July 2nd. First, because of technical issues with state updates, and now because it's changing registration systems entirely. The county is switching to the state's voter registration system team after problems with its previous vendor, Votech, which is now shutting down in Texas. But it's just one of 14 counties trying to make the change, and the onboarding process has lasted about a month so far. That has left Bexar County elections officials unable to enter in new registrations until it's done. Meanwhile, the November 4th election is quickly approaching.
Will every one of those people be able to vote in November?
100% yes. I currently have a team set up who have gone through the additional trainings that are required by the state before they can get access to the team system. They are here, they're ready to go. We're just waiting for them to flip the switch.
Elections Administrator Michelle Carew hopes that switch, so to speak, will be flipped by later this week, at which point she believes it will take the county about 10 to 14 days to enter in those applications. Some of the issues on the November ballot include amending the state constitution and whether to help fund a new Spurs arena. San Antonio International Airport made an announcement today. Air Canada will launch nonstop service from San Antonio starting May 1st. This will be the airport's 10th international destination and the only one in Canada. So Air Canada will offer flights 3 times a week. Those days will be every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And service to Toronto will be timed so people here can access other popular destinations throughout the world, including London, Montreal, Barcelona, and Madrid. Well, with San Antonio's Startup Week less than a month away this year, it won't just be working professionals pitching their ideas. Teams of high school students are going to get the same shot. Devin Karp introduces us to a group of entrepreneurs who have already raised thousands of dollars and are ready to take their startup to college and beyond.
People say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But for these 5 high school entrepreneurs, they weren't thinking about apples.
Over half of our country drinks soda every single day, and they know the terrible effects it leaves. All over the internet, we see that even stevia has negative effects. There's terrible things in Coke, Diet Coke. So we wanted that one solution that just had completely clean ingredients.
That's how they came up with Fizzy, a soda with natural caffeine, real fruit juice, and healthier sugars like agave and allulose. And get this, they've already got nearly $10,000 in seed funding.
You guys aren't even 18, and you're on the same playing field as some of these other startups in town. How cool is that?
It's so cool. Yeah, it's such an awesome experience. Yeah.
We're doing the same thing that Geekdom's doing, same kind of curriculum, but at a younger age.
They're part of the Business Incubator program here at Alamo Heights High School, coming together to learn how to start a startup, practicing pitches, developing a business plan, and looking at competitors already doing the same thing.
People were like floored. These are high school students? And I'm like, yes, because they were elevator pitching like it was nothing.
This year, they'll have the chance, along with 11 other high schools, to pitch their work at Startup Week, right alongside people who've been working professionals for years.
Because they get to go out there and get their first taste of real world. I'm talking to a stranger and getting feedback. It may feel good, it may not feel good, but they're gonna get the feedback from other people to know if they're on the right track or if they need to pivot or iterate their idea. So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah. You're good.
But Fizzy takes this seriously and is ready to rise to the challenge. Because this is more than a business. For these girls, it's a mission to be the best in the marketplace.
People are drinking these healthy sodas right now, and we want them to be able to drink things that are actually good for their body. So even if Fizzy can start other companies doing similar things, that would be amazing.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
A benefit concert is set to take place this noon. We're learning about the helper behind it.
President Trump says he'll make a, quote, very important announcement on autism later today, but health experts are sounding the alarm. I'm Rena Roy, and I'll have the latest coming up.
Happening tomorrow, several organizations are teaming up to host the Fall Awareness Lengthens Lives Resource Fair. It's a chance for adults to get free information about medication as well as home and community safety. It runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at MacArthur Park Lutheran Church. Well, the Trump administration is promising a major announcement about autism today. The president is reportedly set to talk about a possible link of Tylenol use during pregnancy to the development of autism in children, and will apparently talk about a potential treatment for the condition, but details are limited at this time. But as Rena Roy reports, health experts are already concerned.
The White House scheduled to make what it claims is a historic announcement on autism.
I think we have the answer. And I think it's going to be very strongly given.
The Washington Post reporting that President Trump will link autism to the use of Tylenol during pregnancy.
It's extremely dangerous to raise fear and alarm in pregnant women. Why add to the misery and the fear-mongering when it is based on very limited evidence?
This is the latest effort by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to upend norms well established by medical professionals. No known medical studies have proven that use of Tylenol, known as acetaminophen, by pregnant women is a cause for autism. Some limited evidence suggests that it's associated with higher rates of neurological issues, but studies have been mixed.
Because in fact, what we know is that the use of acetaminophen has been declining over the last 2 decades at the same time as we're seeing the rates of autism rise.
The CDC says 1 out of every 31 8-year-olds had autism in 2022. That's compared with 1 out of every 150 children in the year 2000.
In recent years, awareness of the disorder has improved. There's also been a widening of the definition of the spectrum and an increase in the age of parents, which may be factors in the increases.
The maker of Tylenol pushing back, calling it the safest pain reliever option for pregnant women as needed throughout their entire pregnancy.
And the prominent American College of OBGYNs insisting acetaminophen remains a safe option to treat headaches, fevers, and pain. In April, RFK Jr. pledged to discover the root cause of autism by this month. Scientists who have been studying the causes for decades warn that timeline is too short to determine a single answer. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Back here at home, let's turn to the weather because we do have something, even though blue skies today, we do have something down the line that will bring us some much needed relief.
A cool front on Wednesday, not only going to drop temperatures a little bit, but also bring the potential for some rain. But as we look at the pollen count today, molds are moderate. Oftentimes rain can raise molds, so we'll have to keep track of that. But we need the rain because the aquifer is down 0.4 of a foot just over the last 24 hours. But it is nearly 30 feet below the monthly average. Now, looking at rain chances, you can see they do increase, particularly Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, and early Thursday morning. I'll have details on crisp and cool mornings coming up in just a bit.
Well, of course, when we have those events where there's heavy rain that causes flooding, we think, oh, we've had so much rain, and you really don't think about the drought extensively sometimes. But we are still in drought. We still need the rain.
Absolutely. And there's the potential to have some minor street flooding issues with the upcoming rain. But again, the drought kind of outweighs the negatives there. We really need some rain in San Antonio. Today, though, is going to be a hot day. It's hard to believe fall starts in about an hour, and it's going to feel like 101 in San Antonio this afternoon. Feeling like 102 out in Uvalde, even in Kerrville and Comfort, feeling close to 100. So the thermometer is actually going to read closer to 90. It's just 95 rather. It's just that the humidity is going to make it feel like the triple digits. But we are all focused on that front that's going to be moving through on Wednesday. So for the rest of your day, again, feeling like 101 as you're picking up the kids from school. So crank that AC in the car. And then this evening, it's going to be mild and muggy, 81 by midnight. So today, our highs are going to be in the 90s. The upcoming front, is it going to be weak, noticeable, or strong? Well, it's going to be weak, as typically the first fronts of the season are. So we're going to start with our highs in the 90s at the beginning of the week here. But by Wednesday and Thursday, that front's going to knock the highs down on Thursday into the 80s. So again, not a huge temperature drop from the highs. The mornings are going to be a little bit more pleasant. We've been starting starting our mornings in the 70s, even close to 80 degrees. That morning low is going to fall into the 60s by Thursday morning, Friday morning, and especially on the weekend. So if you wake up early enough, you're really going to feel that crisp, cool fall air. And where you're really going to notice the cool front is from the humidity changes. So the humidity is going to drop from a tropical air mass overhead to a pleasant air mass overhead. So it's going to feel pretty good outside, even when temperatures are in the 80s. The humidity will be nice and low. Take a look at temperatures right now. It's 88 in San Antonio, low 90s across a good portion of the southern part of the United States. You can really see where that cooler air is. Look at Boise, Idaho. It's only 59, 52 in Billings, Montana. That's where that cool front is, and that cool front set to arrive to Texas on Wednesday. In the meantime, though, we've got that heat high overhead. This is why we are experiencing pretty toasty weather both today and tomorrow. But with the approach of that front and that low pressure system, that heat high is going to kind of break down. And as we look ahead toward about Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning, that's when that front's going to be moving through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You're going to start to see some rain on the radar up near Dallas-Fort Worth early in the morning on Wednesday. We're likely not going to see any rain in San Antonio until at least the afternoon, particularly after lunch. You can see by about 11 o'clock, maybe areas in the hill country like Fredericksburg, Junction, going to be getting some rain. But here in San Antonio, I don't expect that rain to start until the afternoon hours and potentially even carry into the evening on Wednesday into early Thursday morning. So when we look at rain chances, the highest rain chance is going to be Wednesday in the afternoon and Wednesday night at 60%. And then by Thursday, especially in the morning, a lot of that rain will be coming to an end before things dry out. So what are we watching for? Particularly Wednesday afternoon and evening. We'll be watching for the risk for some street flooding for some. For the most of us, we'll get about less than an inch of rain, but there could be some neighborhoods that see 2+, and that certainly would lead to some street flooding. If you get a storm in the afternoon on Wednesday, there could be enough energy in the atmosphere to even produce some perhaps quarter-sized hail or maybe 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, these would be the exception rather than the rule, but it's still something that we will be keeping our eyes on, and we'll have updates for you as we get closer and closer to Wednesday. So just putting everything together for you. Fall starts this afternoon in an hour, and it's not going to feel like it the next couple of days. We're going to be at 97 tomorrow, but on Wednesday that front will arrive and our temperatures are going to drop. Take a look at morning lows in the 60s. By the weekend, we're going to be in the low to mid 60s in the morning. It's going to feel amazing for Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday mornings. Highs will be in the 80s. Hey, coming up, Gabrielle is now a major hurricane in the Atlantic. I've got to look at Gabrielle's path and what else we're watching in the tropics in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Sarah. Well, there is still a lot of need in the Hill Country. That's why volunteers are still hard at work. One of their efforts is a benefit concert. How one volunteer is leading the charge. Today, Communities in Schools of San Antonio is launching a new peer-led mental health program in 4 high schools across East Central and Southwest ISD. This initiative is part of the organization's 40th anniversary celebration and supports the Future Ready Bexar County plan, which focuses on healing and youth mental health. The program aims to empower students to support their peers and promote well-being in schools. Well, the need continues in Kerr County and specifically in Hunt, which was heavily damaged by the July 4th floods. And on October 18th, you can do your part to help with the recovery through a benefit concert. Patty Santos tells us about the helper behind the benefit.
My name is Marissa Rios, and I am just a citizen of Boerne, Texas, out here in Hunt, and I've been adopted by the volunteer fire department out here. I showed up just thinking I was going to come and do a one-day clean, and I walked into the fire department. It's a small fire department here in Hunt.
Marissa Rios connected so much with this community, she's permanently moving to Hunt. For weeks, she's helped coordinate food, volunteers, and much more. Most of those volunteers have slowly moved on, but she's part of a small core group still here.
We all talk actually like pretty much every day, if not every other day. We have chats on Facebook okay, who has this, who has that? You know, I need help today, I need help tomorrow.
You really don't do this for the publicity. You didn't.
No.
You said no to interviews.
Correct.
But this has become home for you, right?
This is home for me, definitely. It holds a big place in my heart.
So much that she's coordinating the Hope for Hunt concert on October 18th, put on by Pure Country Barbecue and Grill in Boerne.
It's going to be 100% proceeds, 50-50, so 50 to the Hunt Volunteer Fire Department. They were the backbone when all this started, and I saw them, and they delivered, and they were called upon, and they came through for this town. The other half is going to be to the Hunt Preservation Society, and this is just for the actual hunt.
Well, they have 1,500 tickets to sell, but they're also looking for sponsors. So if you can help, you can head to KSAT.com and search Hunt to get connected. We are also told that Skylar Darrington, a Camp Mystic survivor, will be making a special performance. Well, it is finally time to see who came out on top. A look at your essay picks in the next half hour. Wow, listen to that. Some nasty weather hit North Texas over the weekend. This is video out of Melissa, which is north of Dallas. Heavy hail fell in several areas. WFAA in Dallas reports the storms caused severe damage and killed one person at an RV park.
Oh my goodness, I actually used to live in Melissa, Texas.
Really?
That's actually where I started off my meteorology career, up in Denison, Sherman, but I lived in Melissa, and wow,
that's a lot more common there, right?
They can get some major hail. Hail is actually more common for us in San Antonio than it is up there, but tornadoes are way more common in North Texas.
That's right.
Now, we are talking about heat for the rest of the day. Temperatures are going to climb to 95 this afternoon, feeling like 101. But as we look out into the Atlantic, wow, Gabrielle has really exploded in strength. It is now a Category 3 hurricane. Can you see that eye just to the east of Bermuda there? Thankfully for Bermuda, this storm is going to stay east of the island. That could have been a very devastating situation for those folks out there. But Gabrielle will basically be moving off to the north and eventually even make it into areas closer to Europe as a tropical storm, impressively. And then what we're watching an area of development south of that could easily become the next named storm. Following today and tomorrow's heat, the next big thing to talk about is a cool front, which will be arriving Wednesday afternoon and night. That cool front is going to bring the potential for some storms and even 1 to 2 inches of rain for some. Not everybody will see that much, but we'll talk a little bit more about rainfall potential coming up in the full forecast and the changes that front will bring, including lower humidity and crisp and cool mornings for many of us. Details coming up.
That we're looking forward to. Thank you. Well, a senior White House official says Oracle will control TikTok's algorithm for U.S. users after this sale is complete. That detail had been one of the big outstanding questions as the White House pushes ahead to finalize the TikTok deal. If completed, the deal will transfer control of TikTok's U.S. operations to a new joint venture based here in the United States. The investors will include Oracle and the private equity firm Silver Lake. Over the weekend, President Trump said Michael Dell and Rupert and Lachlan Murdoch may also be part of the new ownership group. TikTok's parent company ByteDance will retain a less than 20% stake in TikTok US following the deal. The White House also says Trump will sign an executive order later this week that says this deal fulfills the requirements of the ban or sale law that Congress passed last year. Several of the country's biggest news outlets are publicly pushing back on new restrictions that would sharply restrict reporting at the Pentagon. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth unveiled the new rules to reporters on Friday. According to the new policy, beat reporters with a Pentagon credential will still have to sign a pledge not to obtain or use unauthorized material. The New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal have all issued statements criticizing the policy. Hegseth wrote on social media, quote, "Wear a badge and follow the rules or go home," unquote. But the Pentagon press corps has already had to wear the credentials. Hegseth's press office has already booted some news outlets from media workspaces and made key parts of the building off limits to journalists without an official escort. The Federal Trade Commission's long-awaited trial against Amazon gets underway this week. The FTC filed the lawsuit in 2023 under the Biden administration. It accuses the e-commerce giant of tricking millions of customers into signing up for its Prime membership program and making it difficult for them to cancel the subscription. Neither Amazon nor the FTC responded to requests for comment. Amazon has previously denied any wrongdoing. Jury selection begins Monday, and opening statements are set to start on Tuesday. The trial is expected to last about a month. Now to new developments in the Luigi Mangione case. A new motion by defense attorneys accuses prosecutors of playing politics. Luigi Mangione successfully did eliminate a terrorism charge from his state murder case. ABC's Aaron Katursky reports Mangione's attorneys say the federal death penalty case should be next.
Accused killer Luigi Mangione is urging a judge to dismiss federal charges that could get him the death penalty if he's convicted in the fatal shooting of United Healthcare Chief Executive Brian Thompson. His attorneys compared Mangione's dramatic return to New York, clambering out of a helicopter in shackles and surrounded by heavily armed officers, to a scene out of a Marvel movie that they said amounted to unfair, unconstitutional prejudice. The defense also pointing to public statements by Attorney General Pam Bondi.
If there was ever a death case, this is one. This guy is charged with hunting down a CEO, a father of two, a married man, hunting him down and executing him.
Defense attorneys said Bondi's statements were gratuitous and designed to make Mangione seem dangerous to the country and menacing to the Attorney General.
In this case, it is a little unusual because before the grand jury indicated that it would seek the death penalty, the Attorney General did make statements about this case. That is not typical, and that is why the defense counsel is seeking to have this indictment thrown out, or in the alternative, they're seeking to have the death penalty removed from the indictment.
Federal prosecutors have not responded, but they've previously said Mangione deserves a death sentence because he tried to normalize the use of violence to make a point. Mangione convinced a state judge last week to throw out terrorism charges, though that same judge noted there's evidence Mangione murdered Thompson in a premeditated and calculated execution.
While new car prices are holding steady, used car owners are seeing some other bills rise. Why that might be? Plus, anyone flying internationally might run into some trouble. Why a major airport has been canceling flights.
Anyone flying into Europe should check their flights because a massive cyber attack on Friday is still affecting major airports. Brussels Airport is cancelling half of its flights today. There have been delays in London and Berlin too, but it does seem like things are getting back on track there today. Check-in systems were hacked on Friday and it forced bag drop machines and kiosks offline. It's meant many passengers have had to check in manually. US company Collins Aerospace makes the software affected, and they say they're running updates today which will hopefully resolve the situation. James Longman, ABC News in London.
Well, a new government report shows despite the Trump administration's tariffs, the price of new cars has steadily held in recent months. But people are noticing a difference if they get their vehicle repaired. The latest Consumer Price Index report shows a jump between July and August. The report found car repairs rose 5%. That's the largest one-month increase on record. And overall, car repairs are up 15% from a year ago. Analysts say the tariffs are mostly to blame. The Trump administration has slapped fees on both imported autos and parts, and that is driving up the cost for repairs. Well, this summer, we asked you to name some of San Antonio's top businesses, from restaurants to dog groomers, plumbing and air conditioning services, and the votes are finally in. We have the list of winners up on KSAT.com. We received thousands of nominations across nearly 100 categories. So here's a look at some of the places that you voted as the best in San Antonio. For amusement park, that was Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Movie theater was Santikos. Museum was the Whitty. Burgers was Burger Boy. The bar was River North Ice House. For tacos, Las Palapas. For barbecue, B&B Smokehouse. And there is a full list of all of those winners on KSAT.com.
Now I'm hungry.
I know.
Not fair. Hey, take a look outside. It is hot. Fall officially starts in about 30 minutes or so. So we're going to be having a heat index value this afternoon of 101. Yeah, but at least we do have a cool front to talk about on the horizon. Molds are moderate at 540. Ragweed is low, down from yesterday. The aquifer is down 0.4 of a foot and almost 30 feet below the monthly average. Rain chances really start to spike Wednesday and Wednesday night. That's all because of that cool front. We'll talk about how cool it'll get in the mornings. Plus, we'll talk about rainfall potential. We really need a lot of rain in San Antonio. Details soon.
Ready to lace up? The 12th annual Head for the Cure 5K is right around the corner. The race raises awareness and funds for brain cancer research and honors our late news director, Jim Boyle. It happens next Saturday, September 27th, kicking off at 8 a.m. at Providence Catholic School. Head to ksatcommunity.com to register and get details.
And Courtney, I've been combing through the data for that Saturday morning. It could potentially be in the 60s when people are starting to run with low humidity.
Oh my goodness, that would be amazing.
It would be amazing, not only for a good cause, but the weather could be good too.
Well, especially because I was going to ask you, because of course, the autumnal equinox is today. What is it, like 1:19? Okay, yeah. I only know Stephanie Cerna loves fall, and so she gets very excited. So she's been listing the time. It's not going to feel like it.
Not
but
today.
It's not too far off, though.
Correct.
Right.
We are going to have a little amuse-bouche of fall. Like little taste.
Palate cleanser.
Yes. Wednesday afternoon and evening, we expect a cool front to move through. Storms are going to be possible with that front. Most of us are going to see less than an inch of rain, but some folks could see potentially 1 to 2 inches of rain for some. And again, we need that rainfall. We'll talk a little bit more about the potential risks with those storms as well here in just a bit. But the biggest changes you're going to notice are lower humidity and cooler mornings. Again, particularly by Friday morning, Saturday morning, those mornings are going to be crisp and cool. Let's take a look at the temperatures and the effect that that front's going to have. Again, today 95 for the high and 97 tomorrow. So it's going to be very hot the next couple of days, running some 5 to 10 degrees above what is average for this time of year. That front then arrives on Wednesday. I still think we'll get up to about 92 on Wednesday before that front gets here. But when that front moves through, take a look at these morning lows. By Friday morning, we're going to be in the low 60s in San Antonio, and highs are likely going to stay in the upper 80s or at least close to 90 degrees. And yes, that's warm, but we'll have low humidity. So it is going to feel wonderful, especially in the shade. Now take a look at the potential heat index and feels like temperatures today across the nation. Feeling like 102 this afternoon in San Antonio, so not very fall-like at all. But you go up to areas like Billings, Montana, Boise, Idaho, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, even out into areas like Cheyenne, Wyoming. These are where temperatures are going to feel, it's going to feel like it's in the 60s. And that's where that front is right now. So that front will be moving closer and closer to Texas. But the reason why we're so hot today is because of this heat high in place. This low pressure system, though, is going to have enough oomph to at least weaken this high and force it off to the west. And so with that comes that front moving through Texas early on Wednesday morning. We're talking pre-dawn. The Dallas-Fort Worth area could have some storms. We'll be watching the radar carefully because whatever happens in North Texas will be racing south towards San Antonio and South Central Texas. Now, I do not expect rain in San Antonio for the first half of the day on Wednesday. So if you're planning ahead, if you're dropping off your kids on Wednesday morning, you won't have to deal with rain. But by the second half of the day and potentially even into the evening on Wednesday, that's when I think we could see some rain in areas Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. And you can see that here with the rain chances, mainly on Wednesday evening and Wednesday afternoon through the first part of Thursday. How much rain could we see? I think this shows this fairly accurately. So there will be some folks that maybe see up to about 2 inches of rain, maybe perhaps even an inch, but most of us are going to see less than an inch of rain. That's widespread, less than an inch of rain. But some neighborhoods could easily see 2 inches or more. And whenever we have 1 to 2 inches of rain, particularly over populated areas, that's when you could see some street flooding. So that's the primary thing we'll be watching out for. Again, if that rain happens during the evening commute, that could be an issue for some folks. And if you get a storm in the afternoon on Wednesday, when we have all that daytime heating, all that energy present, one or two of those storms could end up producing some quarter-sized hail or even perhaps some gusty winds. Now, that would be the exception rather than the rule, but it's still something that we'll be watching out for. Now, looking ahead and just to put everything together for you, hot today, hot tomorrow, and then Wednesday, that cool front comes to the rescue, bringing a decent chance for rain, dropping our morning lows into the 60s as we start the weekend with afternoon highs in the 80s or near 90 degrees and low humidity. That's a nice cool front, even though it's going to be a little bit on the weaker side. It's not necessarily going to be pumpkin spice weather, but it's something for us.
Weather in the morning.
Yeah,
Love
nice
it.
weather.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Well, dozens of professional sports teams hosted a special Sport for Healing Fest in Ingram over the weekend. How families got the opportunity to get back a small sense of normalcy after the flooding this summer. The Mexican men's national soccer team is headed to San Antonio for their final Texas appearance before the 2026 FIFA World Cup. On Tuesday, November 18th, Mexico will face off against South American team Paraguay at the Alamo Dome. This match marks the 120th game in the 22-year history of Mex Tour. And guess what? Tickets went on sale today at 10 a.m. Just go to somoslocales.com. Now to the power of sports in general. Professional sports teams from across the state set up an unforgettable day for the Hill Country families. The Spurs and the Astros were just two of the big-name teams represented at the event. Zaria Oates shares why a day of playing basketball and football was so important for these families.
You probably can't even catch.
Yeah, I can catch, and so can a lot of the kids who are at this Sport for Healing Fest hosted by the Spurs and a bunch of other professional athletes across Texas. This event is for the Hill Country.
From dancing to basketball and even just being around each other.
So far, the boys have done basketball.
The Spurs, the Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets, and like 30 other professional sports teams hosted this Sport for Healing Fest.
There's very few things that are as powerful and unifying as the power of sport. And the more and more we heard from July 4th, now it's time to just sit and be, to find a space for joy, to use the power of sport to create that space for healing and joy.
The event was at Ingram High School in some of the same areas that were once reunification sites after the July 4th flood. The goal was to give families an opportunity to get back to even a small sense of normalcy after the flooding this summer.
It's really neat that we all can come together and be here for each other.
With all of the devastation and tragedy that happened, that there's people that are compassionate and still care about what happened.
Students from all over the Hill Country played games and got their faces painted, including Ingram High School senior Hallie Nichols.
It's so important to us. Like, we've been through so much.
Hallie was one of dozens who helped out at the Reunification Center on July 4th, and now she's just grateful to be having a good time.
There's so many people that have been through so much, and it's just, people are happy, smiling, and it's nice to see because it hasn't been like that.
It was just, it was special to see this small little school that I go to with so many people from all over Texas here, and it's really cool to see how much support we're getting.
Support from the community and a few good catches for Kendall made for a great weekend in the Hill Country. Zaria Oates, KSAT 12 News.
Personally, I can't stop thinking about all that money.
The long walk made another $6.3 million, tying for fourth place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to 1930.
Downton Abbey, the grand finale, shared the number 4 slot, adding $6.3 million to its coffers.
8 people live in this house. 8 people have experienced this.
The Conjuring Last Rites dropped a spot to 3rd place, scaring up $13 million.
Cam, are you okay?
I think something's off.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
The football fright flick Him debuted in 2nd place, scoring with $13.5 million.
She's
motivates us.
The Japanese anime adventure Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie Infinity Castle kept the top spot, earning $17.3 million for a domestic total of $105 million. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, so the front that moves through Wednesday is going to be a weak front. Our highs are going to drop from the 90s to the 80s. Our morning lows are going to drop from the 70s to the 60s. Not a huge temperature drop, but the humidity will fall from a tropical air mass to pleasant outside. So it's going to feel great, especially in the mornings when those morning lows dip into the 60s. Now, with that front on Wednesday comes the chance for rain, particularly Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. We're going to be keeping everybody posted as Wednesday comes closer. And again, it's great to see at least a change on the forecast for us, because today and tomorrow, it is not going to feel like fall at all. It's going to feel like it's in the triple digits in the afternoon. And fall starts in 19 minutes, Courtney.
Oh, man. Well, it won't feel like it, but maybe it's the start of a little bit of a dip.
Just wait 48 hours.
It'll change. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a great day.